Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Mark, the founder of Knapsack.com, nap-sack.com. And I want to talk about interesting debate I had with somebody that I thought was a real good friend of mine. We used to work together at a company that I will not say, but actually a really good company. And we've talked about a lot of issues before. And at that time, I used to be a very hardcore Democrat, and I used to believe in all that stuff. And he was a guy that he would talk black, but never would act it. He, I don't know his lifestyle. I think he kind of went over it with me, but I honestly don't remember. But he was the type that I was the whatever. Both black and white had stuff they wanted to say about me, and both black and white had a lot to say about him, and as far as he was a racist to his own kind because he only dated white women and all, and white people would say that about him too. And they probably said a whole bunch of craziness about me. But moving forward, yesterday I was talking about Jim Crow era, blacks today compared to blacks during Jim Crow era. He took everything I said out of context because he said what I was saying was blacks were living better, had a better life than blacks today. And that's not what I was saying. What I was saying was blacks were more united and invested in themselves, which caused and were more family oriented, which caused black population to grow, and was also showing black wealth. And then he had to remind me of what they call the Black Wall Street, how they burnt it down. And I had to let him know that yes, that's what happened because of black growth and black wealth. But that didn't stop black people then. They picked themselves back up, and they went back to investing in themselves, because at that time during Jim Crow era, white businesses were very, very reluctant to sell to black customers. And as that increased, blacks had to rely on each other to get the supplies that they needed, which caused more blacks to invest in black businesses. So I started to explain that, and then I also explained that after the Civil Rights Act, because after the Civil Rights Act, when liberals came into black lives, for some apparent reason, evolution stopped. And we started seeing more blacks go to prison, more blacks not being home with their family. And I should know because I was one of them who did that. So in no way am I trying to put anybody down, or, as you can tell, this trying to merge into traffic. You got to be careful. So I am in no way trying to put anybody down. I'm a part of that problem, but I'm at least brave enough to admit it and to try to teach others not to follow the same footsteps that I, and along with many others, have done. So when I talk for a reason. So as liberals entered into black lives, black progress started to decrease. And we started seeing more ghettos, more black poverty, more illiteracy, more an increase in prison population, more abortions, and then more homicide. And this all started because liberals give us the idea that they have our best interest. But this has been going on since the 60s, the late 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and now it's 2000, and here we go again. It's 2020, it's another election cycle, and here we go with "we got your back." And blacks should have woken up when Joe Biden said, "If you don't vote for me, then you ain't black." That was an ignorant statement to say, and it just shows you that we're not free thinkers. We are followers. So, going back to somebody I thought was my friend, he then let me know that he was going to block me and this and that because I'm an Uncle Tom. Now, he's a pilot now. He's a first officer. He's a pilot. So you would think that at least he would have some type of common sense or education, but apparently he doesn't, because if he would have read the book Uncle Tom, he would have known that Uncle Tom was the hero. Uncle Tom was the person that everybody should want to be. He had dignity. His character was on point. Empathy. This guy was what I wish we all would be. Simon LeGray now hated that. Read the book. Maybe you'll know something before black people just start throwing out, "Oh, you're an Uncle Tom," or something like that, or whatever they want to say. And when you have white people calling you Uncle Tom, trust me, you are on the right side of history. So he started to say this. I said, number one, you took everything I said out of context. I'm telling you that black people during Jim Crow were more successful because they invested in each other. They spent more time with family, and they had each other's back, compared to today, where jealousy for what one has accomplished is destroying us. And I'll tell you, and I'll give you a good example. I have a friend, she's a female, live out here in Florida, and there's two shops. One shop is on the east side, the other one is way up in the shopping area, what they call Butler Plaza, where mostly, more whites would go shopping. The east side is more black and really in bad shape. It's in bad shape, like no investments, no business, because businesses are afraid to set up shop in these black communities. But a black family put up their own business. It was a beauty supply store. And I remember the girl, she wanted to get some type of hair, which cost like $200. That's another topic I might have to discuss soon. Blacks very low in savings, but will spend money on stuff that I just don't get it. $200 on a set of hair. And she had hair. She has hair, so that killed me. But anyway, I said to her that the shop was down. There's a shop on the east side, just open, black family. And the girl proceeded to say, "F that, I'm going over here to Butler Plaza, where it's an Asian, a beauty supply store ran by Asians, And that's where she wanted to go to get her stuff. She didn't want to support the black business. And that's just one person, but there are many others like that who feels that when black people start their own business or become successful, they become what they call bougie or bourgeois, or whatever you want to say, and then they too become uppity Uncle Toms, bootlickers, because maybe they refuse to receive handouts from the government. Maybe they wanted to be successful. They wanted to be entrepreneurs. And so she did not want to support them. She wanted to make sure that they failed. So I talk about black unity. I talk about investing in each other, building one's community back up, because the black community is not doing so well. And we're sitting out here, we have a group of people who call themselves anti-fascists, which they have no clue what that means. Taking down statues, monuments, whatever they want to do, because they say that's a bad part of history. Well, what I would like to say is, don't we learn from our history? Isn't that how we evolve? Isn't that how we grow as a people? When blacks were slaves, and then once they became free, they couldn't rely on the master or or white people. They had to end up learning for themselves, and they evolved. They evolved from a race that relied on master to relying on each other, and that's what I'm talking about. That was growth. The growth was so big at the time that they started playing with investing in eugenics. The Carnegie Foundation and so forth, they invested in eugenics. And Margaret Sanger was no hero, even though liberals would tell you that she is a hero. She was no hero. When you have Adolf Hitler praising her, trust me, she was no hero. It was a way to reduce the black population, because they were becoming powerful. They were becoming stronger. They were growing by the numbers. And they just couldn't have that. They saw their race. They saw that their race was being threatened by this newfound power that black people found within each other. So, to those that sit down and want to call me an Uncle Tom, or, because I don't support the Democratic Party, the reason why I walked away from the Democrats is because of race hustlers and people that continue to tell you that white nationalism and white supremacy is holding black people back, and it's all from racism. They're filling your heads with lies. White nationalism is the least of your problems. Worry about the gang member that's gonna shoot you, even if it's by accident, because they just shooting at somebody else and you just happen to be there. No care, no empathy. Your life just gone like that. Those are the things you have to worry about. Worry about the child that's having a hard time reading, writing, doing math. Worry about that. Trust me, white nationalism, white supremacy is not preventing your child from learning how to read, learning how to write, learning how to do math. White nationalism is not telling this black kid to go into his own community and shoot another black person. That's not white nationalism, that's not white supremacy. That's us. And until we hold ourselves accountable, accept responsibility, because trust me, I did. I was no saint. I was nobody to be martyred to. However, I had to wake up. I had to sit down and say, my life means more than what I'm doing right now. And so I changed. Do I wish I could go back and change the way things were? I do so bad. But however, it's too late. The only thing I can do is moving forward, make the best, and hope that I can change others out there so that they don't fall in that same category. A person that don't take care of their children, running the streets, running with gangs, just not being responsible, and then blaming the white man for it. So it's time for me to go. I just want to say thank you for listening. I'll be back. I'm never going to quit. For those that tell me to stop, I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to shut up. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep fighting until we see more black leaders, more blacks. And this is not black leaders just so they could be with blacks. We need to invest in love. There's white people, there's black people, there's Hispanics, there's Asians. We all come from the same God. And we must believe that. And we must love each other. I don't care what skin color you are. I'm going to treat you like a human being. So this is Mark signing off. I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, guys.